What's up, everybody? So I'm going to make this video here to just capture what I've learned in the past few days now that I'm a father, and more than just a father to these puppies and animals. Jess and I had our son, Aristotle, and it's been the most amazing thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I'll just share a little bit about this to capture this, because I know a lot of people nowadays either overlook like the value of children, or overlook the value of having kids, or let's say you have kids, you start taking them for granted, all that stuff. And I know there's going to be people out there who go, oh, you're only 4 days into having your baby. Just wait till the terrible twos. Just wait till this. Just wait till this. No, it's not going to happen. I'm clear on my starting point. Jess and I were clear from day one. Of course, I know it's going to be challenging. I'm not downplaying that. There's going to be things where I'm tested and challenges we're going to have to walk through. But the purpose of why Jess and I have even started our relationship, as well as had a family, why we have this homestead, right? I'm looking out here and it's beautiful, beautiful fall day. All right, everything we do is with purpose. That's why we named Aristotle. If you know, Google it. It means the best purpose. Aristos, telos, those two Greek words combined. And his middle name is Nicholas, which means victory. So he's going to be victorious in having the best purpose on the planet, which is pretty epic. And it's going to be the most fun thing ever. So I want to capture this because, I'm sure a year from now I'll look back and I'll appreciate this. And I intend, and I would hope that this video helps people really see the value and significance of having kids. I'm extremely passionate about creating the world to be a better place. Ever since I was young, I always thought, why is there suffering in this world? Do we really have to live in a world where most people go to a job that they hate and they work for 50 years and then they retire for 5 years, 10 years, if they even make it that long, and then they retire and then they go play golf in Arizona or whatever and then they die? Like, is that really life? Of course not. But no one could ever really answer that question for me. I realized I had to answer it for myself. And that's led me through a lot of searching. I've been searching until about 3 years ago I found what I was actually looking for. And it's the solution to all of the world's problems comes back to education, specifically how children are educated. Because if you look at that, and you look at the long-term consequence of if you can make sure every child gets a really effective education, where they understand every word, they understand every concept that they can pick up any book and read it, they have self-confidence, they have self-assuredness. What does that turn into over the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years on the planet? We have a whole new generation of genius kids. Genius in the level where people think Elon Musk is a genius, or Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates, or whatever. They think that these people are geniuses in a sense. Or you think of, Gandhi, or Jesus, or Martin Luther King Jr., and these people that are just, they're so great and confident. The issue with that is that none of them effectively really change the system and could replicate themselves. And some people would argue, well, Jesus had his disciples, and some people don't even believe Jesus. Some people, swear by it. But the point is, even with Jesus, right? He preached the golden rule: treat your neighbor as you want to be treated, love your neighbors yourself, which is amazing. I agree with that fully, 100%. It's common sense. Then what happened? He had his disciples, and then it all got splintered. I'm sharing this because no one has effectively raised and replicated themselves in a way that's systematic, so that we really see a change in humanity for the better. There have been improvements over time, for sure, but there's also been a lot of de-improvements, or whatever the word would be, right? There's evolution, but there's also devolution, however you say it. So I was very clear from day one with Jessica of look, this is what I'm here to do as a person. And her and I agreed on our first, it wasn't even a date, just our first time hanging out together. We chatted for 4 hours on the fact that Jessica used to, in her notebooks, write out, if you took the main 20 Hollywood movies per year and you took their budget, we would have more than enough money to solve world hunger. And Jess used to just do this, in her notebook. That was just where her thoughts went to. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would do the same things. Why do we have all these problems? And it's we both came to this understanding. Yeah, you could try and feed the world, but unless you change it, it's there's enough food right? You could even look at all the Americans in the US, and we could all live in the state of Texas and have half an acre of land if you just do the math. You can look at the whole world's population. We could all live in Australia with a quarter acre of land. Now, a quarter acre of land isn't that much, but hey, it's like the idea that there's a scarce amount of space is a myth. But we have a distribution problem, right? There's a reason that there's a reason that as I look out here, right, in my front yard, like we have our garden, right? It's over there. Right? We just are finishing the last of our harvest. I'm not expecting to be 100% self-sustaining. I'm not trying to go off the grid or anything. But it's nice to know, hey, here's our food. We know what got put into it. It's the most nutritious thing. You eat it like right after you pick it from the source. It's amazing. You'll feel different just from growing your own food. And growing your food and raising animals, and we have chickens and ducks and they lay eggs. I mean, you learn a lot from that because you learn there's no days off, right? You have to plan ahead. Like winter is coming. Like I have to make sure that our hoses are clear. Otherwise, the pipes are going to break because it's going to freeze, and then you have flooding in the house and stuff, right? I got a lady, right? She needs attention every day. She needs to get fed twice a day. So it's like you have these things you have to take care of. And now we got our son. And I'm sharing all this because we live in an insane world. As I look out here, and thankfully it's not as bad exactly where I live, but everywhere here in Minnesota, they're growing corn. They're growing one crop that's so chemically manipulated that if you look at corn seeds, some of them are pink, some of them are blue, some of them are orange, because it's like a product that's been manufactured on an assembly line so it can grow no matter what the conditions are and everything. That's insane. That food grows to then become what? Corn syrup or whatever they call it. The word will come to me, but it's like the stuff that gets put in food that nobody should be eating. Right? Or it gets turned into ethanol, or it gets turned into feed for cattle. And the cattle aren't supposed to eat corn. They didn't evolve to eat that. Cattle are supposed to eat grass. So like, we just live in this insane backwards world. And me and Jessica from day one in our relationship have had that conversation of let's actually change this. We know we can't change it alone. We need a group of people to do it. That's why I make all these videos. That's why we have Self-Perfected. That's why we do the meetups that we do. That's why we're so involved with TechnoTutor, because that's the solution on the education front. The network, the community, the support, the principles, all of that, it all feeds this greater purpose, okay? So now what does that have to do with me being a dad? Well, it has everything to do with it. Because from the moment where Jessica and I made the decision of, okay, we're going to have a baby together, then we were attempting at it for a while, and not conceiving. And then there was one day where it was all intentional, and we realized that was the moment of conception. And sure enough, a couple weeks later we confirmed it with the test and everything. And it's been a process, right? We thought Aristotle would be born almost a month ago. People were saying, oh, he's ahead of schedule, he'll probably come in early. And then he got to the due date, and it was even like 7 days after the due date, which is fine, right? It's expected, whatever. But I'm just saying that there's so much where you get tested in this process, and I know there's a lot to come. But the stability of myself, of Jessica, of every 2 weeks, we do a check-in. We have our relationship agreement. Now with Aristotle, we'll be teaching him principles from the beginning. We already have. I know he's young, he doesn't comprehend everything we're saying, but we talk to him as an equal. And it's going to be the most amazing thing, right? I'm living the example of the starting point is the end point. My starting point with Jessica has been to have the best relationship. And because of that, I've been able to be bold. I've been able to go 100 times more effective in my business. And her, and being a mother and being the feminine support, has been able to go 100 times her effectiveness in that. Her ability to care for our homestead, to care for me, to be extremely stable and grounded, and throughout the birthing process and everything. I mean, I will never not be amazed at what Jessica went through and how much grace and composure she had throughout the whole birth process, even planning ahead to it. But then through labor, I mean, they call it labor for a reason. It was a lot for me to watch. Like, Jessica has the highest pain tolerance I've seen out of anyone, and even she was really going through it, but with such dignity. It was remarkable. And as I now see, the moment Aristotle came out and we were both able to hold him and be there at home in our bed, and just surrounded by this amazing team of midwife and doula and Midwife had 2 assistants, and they were I couldn't have asked for anything better. I don't know what I don't know. I'm sure little things here and there could have gone better. I could have been better supporting Jess, whatever. It doesn't really matter, because we'll plan ahead when we have future kids. And we'll learn from this. But it went as best as it could have. And now we're here. And he's a little 4-day-old baby, sleeping decently well through the night. He's feeding. He hasn't left the room yet. We haven't even taken him outside yet. We're just really taking it a moment at a time. And it's the most amazing thing. Because if I hadn't been doing this process, if I didn't have the Self-Perfected group, if I didn't have TechnoTutor, if I didn't do DIP every day, if I hadn't taken this process so seriously, there would be little moments where I'd compromise with Aristotle. Like at 3 a.m. when he needs his diaper changed and he needs to be fed and he's crying. It's like, in that moment, who am I? Am I going to be like, I got to take another just deep breath and get myself out of sleep and turn around? Or am I like, in the moment, I'm like, okay, cool, nurture him, like hold him. Okay, Jess, okay, you ready to feed him? All that, right? Change the diaper. It's like in those little moments you get to see where you either compromise or you just do the best thing. And if there's little moments where I'll mess up, isn't she funny? Look at her. There's little moments where you might compromise. And it's okay. That's where self-forgiveness comes in. That's where the Destiny I process comes in. That's where using TechnoTutor, rebuilding the foundation, rebuilding the words that make up you. That's where all of this process comes in. And the support I've got from Cameron and Katie Cope, from everyone in this, there's way too many people to name, but Avery as well, just so many people that have been there to support us and guide us, has been just remarkable. And so shout out to everybody who's been part of this, because it's not just us raising Aristotle. It is a community, even though, yes, we're his parents. And I see how he's set up for success, and that's an everyday thing. It's an ongoing, consistent thing that I'm committed to. And I'm very grateful that I've worked my ass off to build our business, that I've been bold with it, that if I don't understand something, I will research it. I will investigate everything, and I'll keep the best things. I will really go above and beyond because I've been doing that. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for 9 years now. I'll say a successful entrepreneur for the past 2 years. Right? There's a lot of years of struggle in there, but I was learning. And now, because I've cracked the code and made a ton of money and had money set aside, and I understand things like how to structure your wealth and how to, set money into certain things and buy assets and things like that. I now know that I'm now grooming Aristotle to not have to struggle in the same way I did. He'll still have a struggle, I'll say, but I'm now supporting him to basically inherit an empire and know how to run an empire, and as the old saying goes, like, stand on the shoulders of giants. I say that humbly, like I'm not anywhere near like my goals, but I know that I've done a lot of work. And my suggestion to you would be, start today. Even if you don't want kids, I would ask you, look at why don't you want to have kids? If you're not able to have kids, or for whatever reason it's like really not practical, okay. But then I would encourage you, look at how can you support kids in your local area, because they're really our future. For those of you who want to have kids, maybe you don't have a partner yet, or you do have a partner. Really, take an hour today. Really write out, what are all your limitations? Where are you struggling? Where are you stuck? What do you want? What are your goals, your intentions? And then reach out. I'm here for people who want to take this on seriously. So if you want support with parenting and planning, things like that, just send me a message. You can find my Facebook, you can find my Instagram. Just send me a message, parenting. Again, I know I'm new. I know the veteran parents will be like, ha ha ha, he doesn't even know what he's in for. Yes, I do. Because some of my best friends have kids that are 4, 5, 6 years old. Right? They are people that have really put in the work. People that have seen and been through a lot. And I've learned from them. And I've spent hundreds of hours with them. Probably more than that. I have to do the math. I know what I'm in for. I know who I am. I know who Jess is. And it's amazing, because the world and the future is able to be brighter than ever. Because when you have all this doom and gloom and these narratives and all this BS stuff happening, the World Economic Forum and the presidency and the economy and all this stuff's changing. What I know is I'm going to raise the greatest kids ever. And I'm equally going to support all the parents and families around me to raise the best kids ever. So every one of these kids can equally be at their best potential, because my son and your son or daughter or whoever, and your neighbor's son and daughter and the other people in our community, all these kids are going to have a unique point that they fulfill. Right? Some of them are going to want to build business. Some are going to want to work with animals. Some are going to want to be a veterinarian or work on healing the environment. There's so many things they'll work on. But let's support them in the best way. And the way that we can do that is by us connecting, starting to have conversation, because it's not going to happen just by wishing. It's not going to happen by hope. It's going to happen by us methodically every day building. And we have different systems, and we have different support networks, and we have parenting calls and group calls and community and hangouts and in-person meetups and online meetups. There's so much stuff you can get plugged into, and you can make your best friends in this community. And you can have your kids have the best friends. But it starts now. It doesn't start later, okay? So thanks for listening. Thanks everyone for your support. And we're still in the beginning of this whole thing. It's really epic what we're going to do. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I don't share on YouTube of my goals with Jess, because people aren't like ready to handle that. But let's just say the life that we have now with the land, we have 10 acres of land, we have, beautiful home, all the stuff that I'm incredibly grateful for. This is little tiny bit compared to what we're building. And I want your kids and your family and you to be part of that as much as I want to be part of it. Let's create a world that's best for everybody. Not just good, not just, at least it's not mediocre. Or at least there's only a little bit of suffering. No, let's create a world that's best for everybody. Okay? So let's chat further. All right. See ya.